Hi. Good morning. The unthinkable happened last Mass. I was halfway through my talk, and I completely blanked out. And I turned behind me and I said, "Father, what was I talking about?" Hoping he'd say a joke or something to give me a few seconds. He just shrugged at me. He watches the video online later. So, of course, we are on our annual sojourn into Lent. So, and as we know, Lent is 40 days between Ash Wednesday and Easter, right? Wrong. It's 46 days. Sundays don't count. Sundays, as we know, every Sunday is in its own right a miniature Easter. We focus on the resurrection on Sunday. And so our Lenten practices don't necessarily take a hiatus, but it's not counted into the proper 40 days of Lent. And even within our liturgical practices, we see that certain things have changed. We won't hear the Gloria. We won't hear the word Alleluia. Of our statuary will continue to be covered up and hidden from us. All these things to bring us on an interior focus, that we're listening to the word that we hear, and we're focusing on the sacrament that we receive. Last Wednesday, of course, was Ash Wednesday, and we all came and we were imposed with ashes, which is a very ancient tradition. Sackcloth and ashes is a phrase that we often hear throughout the Bible. It was an outward expression of an inward disposition. It shows that we are sinful, we are remorseful. And the 40 days of Lent, as we heard today, 40 is a number that comes up quite often. Jesus, 40 days in the desert. So obviously our Lenten observance of 40 days is an imitation of that. But also we heard of the flood today, 40 days of the flood. Moses spent 40 days on top of Sinai. Elijah, 40 days to Mount Horeb, and 40 appears again and again in the Bible. What's the significance of 40? Well, every time 40 appears, it's a period of trial. It's a period of testing that an individual is going through, and God is giving them a trial to see their fortitude. Right? 40 also in the Bible is, in antiquity, was a generation, was 40 years. People didn't live as long as they do now. 40 years was a generation. And also, many theologians point this out, that 40 weeks is typically the human gestation period. And so, to bring 40 days to that formation that goes on in those 40 days, at the end, we emerge as a new life with Christ in Easter. Does that make sense? It's very poetic and very pretty. So, that brings us to the elephant in the room, which is fasting and abstinence, right? All these things that we do during Lent. Like many other things in modernity, the church has relaxed a lot of the regulations dictated to us during this Lenten season, okay? One of them is fasting, the other abstinence. And basically what the church teaches us now is this is on our own individual conscience more than it is strict regulation from the church, because there are so many factors, people's health, poverty, all sorts of things that go in, that the church kind of leaves it to us to do what we think is right. Does everyone understand that? That's very important for us to understand. The rest of the world knows it's Lent too. So if you go out to eat this Friday night, guess what's on special? The baked stuffed haddock and the fried scallops. So this isn't a judgment, I'm guilty of it too. But if we're giving up something for Lent, we're abstaining on Fridays as a Catholic, and then we go get the twin lobster dinner with drawn butter, maybe we should start thinking about that a little more. The act of giving something up for Lent is very beautiful. It's that discipline that we're giving something up. But the point of that is also leaves something empty. We're getting rid of something, we need to fill that something in. So hand in hand with giving up something for Lent is picking up another spiritual discipline. Perhaps spending time reading Scripture. Perhaps coming to Station to the Cross on Friday evenings. perhaps coming to our adult faith formation sessions this Lent, some sort of spiritual practice that is being integrated in there. Right? There are dispensations for our fasting and our abstinence. So, fasting, Good Friday and Ash Wednesday, and abstinence from meat on Fridays. That's Catholic tradition. Now, there are 3 days within Lent that we all get a pass. Number 1 is February 17th, because it's St. Patrick's Day. And as we know, March 17th. Having a rough day today. The next one is a couple days later. It's March 19th, which is the Feast of St. Joseph, which for all practical purposes is St. Patrick's Day for Italians. So there's dispensation for that. And also March 25th, which is the Feast of the Annunciation, which we don't have to worry about this year because it happens to fall on Palm Sunday. So finally, I'll leave you with this, because I get questions about this concerning fasting and abstinence. Is it a mortal sin if I break the fast? Well, it's really on us. It's really on us. I will leave you with this. There are 3 things that the church teaches us contribute to a mortal sin. 1, it needs to be a grave matter. And a grave matter in the eyes of the church, not in the eyes of me. Leaving 1 cookie left in the jar is a grave matter. It's not a grave matter to the church. 2nd is there has to be knowledge. There has to be knowledge of the individual that, yes, I am doing something wrong. And 3rd, there has to be a lack of ignorance there. It has to be deliberate, right? It's not an accident that it happened. So those are the 3 things that constitute a mortal sin. So do with that what you will. And I hope that you all have a very blessed, reflective, and wonderful